I was wrong in doing what I did.
No, no! No! Are you listening?
Sean here, and I have to say, listening to Blue Boy's latest call, I haven't gotten all the way through it, but it is a sobering reminder of just how sad this man is. He has nobody to tell him, the Ferris Bueller, if you don't stop and look around every once in a while, it's going to pass you by. Or whatever that quote was. But the dude is in his 50s. Since he was in his 30s, he's just been sitting in his house. His life consists of every once in a while going out and getting cigarettes, coming home, working around the house. He talks about dealing with Roy, taking care of Aunt Sharon and his mom, which we know means going over there and mooching off of them. That's all he has going on in his life. If somebody could just pull him aside and say, hey man, you're in your 50s. You better get out now and do something, or you're going to die in your trailer having not even experienced life. You talk about going hiking and everything else. You don't even walk a dog, Lorne. You probably just let that dog run around. You sit your fat ass in the trailer or on the front porch or on your steps. It's just really sad. Very, very sad. I think I wanted to start a show called The Lorne Files, The L Files. The proof is out there. Yeah, well, fuck, prove it to me. He's always had a problem with a few specific things, and one of them is that there's always a puppet master. There's always someone working behind the scenes if something bad happens to him. The only time this guy was ever right, to my knowledge, was when Perverted Justice and NBC and the Sheriff's Department and the Kentucky Bureau of Investigation, when they were all working together to stop pedophiles from abusing children. I'll give him that one. But ever since then, there's always somebody behind the scenes controlling these women, because God forbid one of them have a problem with his behavior or just get tired of dealing with his shit. It would be like saying, if you hate this video, it's because there are a group of people out there and all they want to do is tear me down, and they're telling you not to like the video. He would fit in so well in today's society. It's insane to think he doesn't understand responsibility and when he needs to take it. If you gave him the mirror treatment and you sat him down in front of a mirror, or you recorded him and you played it back where he spouted all of his nonsense, I still think he would tell himself, yeah, well, you're fucking wrong. Just take a look at Debbie, how he said Debbie was controlling Winnie, the puppet master, controlling Winnie, set up the sexual assault that she suffered. It was all Debbie's fault, and she's doing everything she can to keep you away from me, to turn me away. And in reality, a good sister would have done that and seen what a complete asshole this guy was, how he'd been working behind the scenes, trying to keep it quiet from everybody, doing whatever he can to lure this woman out there to be an abuse victim. So Debbie was in the right. Think about Casey, not Blue Boy Casey, but one of the original Caseys. There have been quite a few. Her dad was manipulating her. He was using his powers of childhood abuse and money to control her. Not Lorne's behavior, not the fact that Lorne has no money, no future, nothing to offer. I mean, listening to him give his itinerary to Casey about going to places. Yeah, well, walk around the mall. You can buy a fart jar. Holy shit. There would be no life, no future for anyone. So he can't understand why a woman would have any trepidation, why she would have any reservations not to go out there. There must be something else behind it, because there's no way any woman could turn him down. With Ramona, it was the doctor, and sister, and whoever else was behind the scenes. I don't care what your mom thinks. I don't care what your brother thinks. Therapist. They're all out to get him. All of them are controlling her and telling her, don't go with this sex offender who's an abusive drunk. And probably the greatest of all, the one who's pulling all of the strings, Xavier. Does Xavier tell you to say that? How long have you known Xavier? How long have you been working for Xavier? Xavier is so convenient for him, because everything bad that's ever happened in his life, He just pictures this evil guy with puppet strings, and Winnie and Debbie and all these people are just sitting there moving whenever he wants them to. It's absurd, but to him it's normal. I would love to blame everything in my life on some kind of conspiracy. Blaming people who were all organized to go up against me. It's happened in the Lorneography community. I caught a little bit of the wine lover saga. Don't do this, don't do that. I don't really know what happened, but it sounded like there was some string pulling going on. It didn't work. At least I don't think it did. But there have been strings pulled from the beginning. Ember, everybody. I don't know what it's about, but there are instances where that happens. But when you're a sex offender and you're in his situation and you've done what he's done, you can't expect anything but bad things to happen to you. The Church of God, every time somebody visits, or every catfish he calls, it's just another excuse. That guy who showed up, there's the secret leader, Professor Blood or somebody, whoever it is, Baron Von Blood, he's controlling the Church of God. And they're all out to get him, and they're the reason he's gotten fired from every job, the reason he's still living in a trailer, probably the reason his mom is sick, because he will say she was so stressed out that they wouldn't leave him alone. If you're new to the channel, when I first got my job, I'll make it very quick. There was somebody who didn't get it. They orchestrated a whole bunch of horse shit with someone else to try to get me fired because they wanted that job. They were really angry they didn't get it. And thankfully, after that person, see, they might have succeeded, but they stepped over the line. Line step, a habitual. They went and asked if my probation could be extended from 6 to 9 months. Because when you get a new position at some jobs, you have a probation period, kind of like when you can return something, 90-day money-back guarantee. But the bottom line is it didn't work. And I realized there are people out there who will do things like this. But for Lorne, it's everybody. What could he have possibly done to turn these people away? Again, Debbie was she was the one that really mattered. She was the one that was trying to protect Winnie, trying to protect her. Then you had, and I'm going to get into this, then you had Will, who was desperately trying to protect Jamie. Jamie had friends, and what was Lorne concerned about? Not his behavior, not his language, not his abuse. He wasn't worried about that. He was certain that Jamie was not telling them his side of the story, because abusers, they want their side. Bill Burr joked that there are reasons to hit a woman, you just don't do it. And it was funny. He wasn't advocating violence. He was just saying women can be just as frustrating or more at times than men can be. Lorne, he would justify that. Well, I acted the way I did because this classic vintage Lorne. Will's trying to protect Jamie. All of the other, Mary Jo, whoever they are behind the scenes, they're telling her, get away from this asshole, or he's not good. And Lorne sees that as people united against him, that a woman couldn't possibly make a decision on her own. She had a job. Lorne gave his blessing for her to work at that job like she needed it. Gave his blessing for her to do what she wanted. And then he realized there are so many other dudes having sex with this woman of my desire, and I have a crooked, small, broken dink. So by the time we get together, she might not even feel it. I don't know if that's what it was, but whenever you tell this man about a penis, could be a micro penis, he'd probably flip out regardless. But this guy, man, Lorne, he thinks everyone else is trying to take things away from him. He took things away from him by what he did. Listening to him talk about dating and not even having a clue what dating is. Saying he hadn't dated since the sting. I can't imagine he dated before the sting. I think he thinks a date is showing up where a woman is, saying hi to her, being in the same bar, then saying to Roy, oh, she's looking at me all night. He said going and getting drunk at a bar, which leads me to believe he's never been on a date. Maybe he's been at the bar sitting there and somebody's been there talking to him and they're getting hammered. It's probably somebody's girlfriend and he just happens to know the guy and he's interacting with her. That guy would cease to exist. Lorne could block him out. Just like Stan Smith said, gone, when he didn't want to see anybody else. Never been on a date, trying desperately to tell Blue Boy, Casey, that he's got stuff to do. He talked to her for how long and he didn't know what she was interested in at all. That's usually the first things you talk about. Oh, have you seen this? Oh, have you ever done this? You want to share, you want to compare notes. But not Lorne. Lorne wanted to worry about which penis was around, whose penis she might be thinking about. I try at times to remember situations where I thought somebody was pulling the strings. Now, when I got divorced, my ex's sisters, they were desperately trying to get her to just make the divorce final and to get away. And they played a large part in it. And I hated them and they hated me. So I knew that was coming, and I was right when I said it while we were in counseling. I just said, I know what's going on right now. Well, yeah, they are. At least she was honest with me. But I don't think from day one they were just sitting back and calling her, hey, you need to dump him. That's what Lorne thinks these partners, women, men do to all of these girls that he's desperately trying to lure back to his trailer. And again, the scariest one is sexual abuse dad or Debbie even. It's a tie between Casey and her sexually abusive dad who has a lot of money, and Debbie, who is trying to honestly protect her vulnerable sister, and just laid it out for Lorne like, dude, she's not coming out there. She's not even capable of making a decision what to eat that night. But it doesn't matter to Lorne. He will ignore all of those facts, and he will just focus on the fact that Debbie is the enemy. Debbie's trying to pull my prisoner away, my future POW, my control, and sex android. She's trying to pull that away from me. I don't know if you've ever felt manipulated. I was manipulated once. I don't want to get into it. And I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. I've since looked back and was like, wow, I totally fell for that. But I learned from the lesson. He wouldn't learn. Okay, I should change my behavior. People reflect. We go back and look on the situations and we're like, wow, I did not handle that well, or I wish I would have handled it like this. I don't think he does that. I think he goes back and he just looks at where things went wrong and he's like, freaking Debbie, Uncle Clay, whoever it is, doctor. And to this day, I tell you this, I still think it's true. He would call Ember, hey, can I talk to Winnie? Hold on, let me get the voice changer. It's me, Winnie. Hey, baby. All we have really in our youth that doesn't stay with us, well, worldviews, patience, life lessons, of course, but our beauty. You've heard it. Enjoy the beauty of your youth. It's hard for people to understand, or even, I don't want to say understand, to look at themselves and see themselves as anything sometimes besides still attractive for your age. Lorne has to be able to look into the mirror and go, my God, I look like a hairy egg. I look like Humpty Dumpty if he had glue on him and he got in a fight with a gorilla. Roy, as Casey Blue Boy pointed out, was slanging dick everywhere at his age. And Lorne hasn't done anything. I'm getting to the point now where I do feel a little lonely. I've made a choice not to because I want to focus on my son. I have to deal with some things with him. He's a clone of me. I know what I went through. And he needs all the attention he can get. And Daddy is his hero. And I want to stay that hero. And I want to be that person that he's like, I can always go to Dad. Dad's always there for me to talk to. He told me this morning he was being bullied at school. My son's very compassionate. He's very loving. And people will take advantage of that. See, Lorne doesn't understand, and I'm making a point. He's not compassionate. He's not loving. Maybe he was giving at one point in his life. Maybe he did care. When he had money, maybe he really did want to help. No, he didn't. But maybe he didn't want to buy his siblings love. Maybe he really did want to help out, even if it was to feel important. Well, that's gone now. You get to a point where I've given so much. I mean, it happens to us all. I've given so much, but What have I ever gotten in return? Not that you focus on that or dwell on it, but it's something you think about. There is nothing special about this man. People usually have a unique trait, something they're interested in, a talent. He has none of that. Lorne, what are you good at? Well, with a hammer and nail, I can move dirt. I honestly don't know what he would be good at. He needs to look at himself. Look at what he has to offer. Look at everything he's done. Look at everything he's still doing. Look at how he treated people. Look at how those situations worked out, how he continually gets catfished. The more I listen to him, I stand by what I said. He needs somebody, a sponsor or somebody. There are charities, life coaches out there that could try to help him get back on his feet. There are sex offender rehabilitation programs, but this guy, he just won't use them. That's why he will stay who he is. He will always be that guy. I got a random phone call from Portland, Maine the other day, and I don't know who it was. I didn't answer. I let it go straight to voicemail. But I was thinking to myself, how awesome would that have been if it was one of his guidance counselors, if it was one of his probation and parole, and they came across one of my open letters, and they just wanted to talk to me, because I would have a lot to talk to them about. A lot of methods that they could use, the reflective therapy, where you got to yell and scream when you're in the middle of one of your tantrums. You look at yourself in the mirror when you just want to rage at somebody. You don't write it down, because it's not going to work. You're going to stall and procrastinate and say, well, I know I probably shouldn't have done it, but the feeling's going to remain. But looking at yourself in the mirror, the scowl, the anger, talking about these conspiracy theories where everyone's out to get you, you would hope that he'd be able to look in that reflection and say, wow, what you're saying, guy, is completely insane. He wouldn't get it. He probably still thinks to this day, even after Casey, that Xavier is out there just waiting for the next catfish. But this time he'll be ready. Maybe I finally defeated Xavier. Maybe this will be a real woman this time, and something good will happen. And it's a shame that a human being, no matter what he's done, can't even take the time to get outside, touch grass, go out and hike, go out, enjoy himself by the lake, fish, something that doesn't really cost a lot, to fly a kite, whatever, man. Do something and get out. He just can't do it. And his life is like that, according to him, because the whole world is conspiring against him. No one would care about him if he changed. Probation and parole, they want to wash their hands of him, but he won't progress. All he has to do is not answer the phone. But he knows if he doesn't answer the phone, he's going to have to go out and try to live a real life, try to date, try to do whatever else it is that people his age normally do. Go to McDonald's in the morning, get a coffee, get the senior special, a coffee and like an Egg McMuffin, and read the newspaper and just randomly blurt out headlines. Huh, that's funny. Did you see the guy that swallowed a yo-yo down at so-and-so? Oh, really? I hear it at work all the time. Just people talking about bullshit. Just blurting out things from their cube, waiting for somebody to prairie dog it, pop up and answer. But he can't do it. And for the rest of his life, he will be certain that there is a puppet master, many puppet masters, every time he potentially has a relationship with a catfish. And thank God, not a real woman. Anyway, that's my video for today. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.
Wow.